Long ago, in the fantasy world of Kumandra, humans and dragons lived together in harmony. However, when a sinister monsters known as Droon threatened the land, the dragons sacrificed themselves to save humanity. Now, 500 years later, those same monsters have returned, and it's up to a lone warrior to track down the last dragon and stop the Droon for good. Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again with a brand new early movie review, and today we're discussing the new Disney animated film by the name of Raya and the Last Dragon, which will be coming to theaters, but also will be available on Disney Plus Premier Access this Friday for $30. I'm gonna let you all know if it's worth checking out and if it's worth that $30 price tag in this spoiler-free review. But before we dive into it, as you can see on the screen now, make sure you all are following me on all my other social media accounts, which you can find those links in the description below. If you are new to the channel, welcome to this community. Consider subscribing to the channel, and while you all are at it, make sure you hit that notification bell. That way you can get the alert for when I drop new content. It would mean the world to me if you all can like and share this review. It helps out the channel a lot, but I also appreciate all the support. In the comments below, let me know if Raya and the Last Dragon is something you all are looking forward to. And once you've seen the film, let's talk about it. Your pros, your cons, your thoughts on the story, the characters, the animation, the score. Let's discuss it all in the comments below. So what did I think about it? My pros, my cons. Is it worth that $30 price tag? Well, let's get into this review, starting off with the positives. First and foremost, I want to talk about the animation. This has to be, and I'm not speaking hyperbole here, this is my personal opinion, this has to be one of the most gorgeous looking Disney films I've ever seen. Of course, we have Disney, Pixar, we have DreamWorks, we have a lot of great animators out there, but this film was gorgeous to look at. I'm to the minute little details from like the water in this movie, right? I thought that Toy Story 4 had the best like water that I've ever seen in an animated film, but no, it's this film. From the rivers to the rain coming down, the tears coming down on our characters' faces, and I shed a couple tears in this movie. This film was just so gorgeous. The colors, the aesthetics, the different environments that we see within the different clans. This was easily one of the best looking animated films I've ever seen, which also transitioned into the animation, the hand-in-hand combat. This is the most action-packed Disney movie ever. I can say that without no doubt, in my personal opinion, in regards to animation. The fighting sequences, the sword fights were so incredible to look at. This is an action-packed heist Disney film that just completely surprised me in regards to the action department, but also just, again, the hand-to-hand combat, the environments, the colors, the animation was just flawless, which kind of going into some of my thoughts on the voice acting and the characters, starting off with our new Disney princess, voiced by Kelly Marie Tran as Raya. Man, she was such a badass princess. If I were to have a bet in a fight in regards to Raya versus other Disney princesses, no disrespect to those incredible characters, but I got my money on Raya. She was so awesome. She was epic. She had great hero moments. She had a great character arc from her not trusting the people, and you kind of learn why she doesn't trust humanity in the beginning of this film, and seeing where she ends in this movie was so great. She displayed great leadership. She is an incredible Disney princess and definitely kind of ranks high on my list when it comes to those different characters. And shout out to Kelly Marie, man. As you all may or may not know, from her time with the negative response from Star Wars: The Last Jedi and her having to leave social media, I'm so glad that she can put this in the haters' face. Like, I'm a Disney princess now, and I really hope the best for her career, because she was fantastic as our lead voice actor as Raya. Which brings me to Sisu, who is the Last Dragon, voiced by the incredible Awkwafina. I'm going to be straight up honest with you all. When we first meet this Last Dragon, Sisu, the first scene that she was involved in, like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like this character. She's a little bit too kiddish, she's a little bit too over the top. But as the film unfolds, I end up loving Sisu. I love what she stood for. I love that she wanted to believe in humanity. She wanted to trust people, and that message of that character was so important, as well as just visually speaking, her as a dragon and her mythical, magical abilities that we see throughout the film. I thought that she was great. Again, I started off like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this character, but I end up loving it by the end of the film. But I also want to highlight the supporting characters. I only saw the teaser trailer that they showed almost 2 years ago, and I'm like, oh, this looks really interesting. I didn't watch the full trailer that we got a couple months ago, and I'm glad I didn't see that full trailer, because the supporting characters are the most surprisingly incredible aspect of this movie. We have this kind of ragtag group of people that tag along with Raya and the Last Dragon on this hunt to discovering or to getting the pieces back to this broken magical piece of dragon power. And this ragtag group includes characters like Boone, who's this little kid who has his own boat, who's lost his family, and seeing his character, I mean, he's the kid that wants to be a part of the adventure. I really enjoy Boone. You have Tung, who is voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch, who's this big overpowering warrior who has lost something of his people and his family, and he's this big warrior on the exterior. He seems like he's this mean, grimacing type of character, but he's a great person inside. And then look, when it comes to Disney merchandise, we have Baby Groot, we have Grogu, aka Baby Yoda, but watch out, because this baby in this film with her 3 monkeys was so funny, was so incredible. I love that those group of characters that tagged along with that baby. Listen, the supporting cast was incredible, but I also want to highlight Naja Amari, is this anti-villain of sorts. Wow, I was blown away by that character development. I loved her story. I love her perspective of what she was fighting for against Raya, and I thought that character was incredible. I want to transition into the story and its important messages within this film. We got to get back to Kumandra in regards to bringing people together. We're introduced to this island of people coming together, living in harmony with the dragons, but as humans do, they become selfish. They become self-indulged. They get into greed, and that harmony is unfortunately broken apart. And I love how the film focuses on coming together as a people. I love how it's saying that put your differences aside. Let's come together. Let's believe in one another. Let's trust one another. And that's very important in today's climate. The film was supposed to come out last year, and it would have been a great movie to see last year, but I'm so glad that we get it this early part of 2021, because I think the message really does resonate in today's climate. And then again, just talking about the drones, right? The monsters in this film, which I thought represented the hatred, the stripping away humanity and the greed and kind of putting yourself before others. I love what those creatures represented. They didn't have a face necessarily to kind of, a traditional villain of that sorts, but I love what those creatures represent within this film. And then in regards, again, this film is action-packed. It's a heist film, which I did not expect to see that. And I just really enjoyed the elements in regards to the story that we get within this film. Which, speaking of this film, I got to give kudos to the directors of this movie. You have Don Hall, who was the co-director of Big Hero 6, one of my favorite Disney films in the last decade. And you can see some of that Big Hero 6 in this film. And also you have Carlos López Estrada, who is the director of Blind Spotting. And even in that film, you can take some of the elements of trusting one another. There's an important message in this film. So I love the directors in this film, and I love what they did with the movie. And I also want to highlight the film's music and the score. Now, I know for my Disney purists out there that love the musicals, and I love me a good musical too, but this film doesn't have any musical pieces, which didn't bother me personally. I love the score that we get within this film. It's very epic. It keeps the film alive. It keeps it at a good pace. And I thought the composer here, James Newton Howard, did a great job of composing this movie. So a lot of great things to say about Raya and the Last Dragon, but I do have some criticisms that I want to transition into. I'll say this, when it comes to the story beats, there were some familiar moments in this film. I felt a little bit of Black Panther at times, especially at the beginning of the film, where we go to Raya's homeland and how they have the magical dragon powers, which are essentially the MacGuffin of this film. Again, I say it reminds me of Black Panther because if you think of Wakanda, vibranium, and how people wanted the vibranium, kind of reminded me a little bit of that film. And of course, you have the same studio that made Moana, and there are definitely some Moana beats in this film, as well as other Disney princess type of arcs that you've seen before. So it was a little bit tropey at times, which brings me into, I thought the pacing was great. I thought the first and second act really kind of add up to a satisfying conclusion to this film, but I wanted maybe like 5 to 10 more minutes in the opening set piece, because we get this flashback and you get to understand where Raya comes from, her beliefs, her family, and you see why she doesn't trust people. But then we go from that opening sequence and we fast forward 6 years later. I wish we would have spent a little bit more time in that transition from this 12-year-old who becomes a 18, 19-year-old. I wish we would have focused on the character arc a little bit in that opening set piece. Going into some other things that come to mind, I wish, again, speaking of fleshing out certain things, we go to these different clans and the different environments. Again, this film was gorgeous to look at. I wish we would have spent a little bit more time in those different environments and kind of fleshed out the world a little bit more. And then lastly, again, going back to the familiar story beats, Going back to tropes, there are tropes you've seen a million times in other Disney films. There are character moments. Okay, this is the stereotypical big guy that's a teddy bear inside. We have the little kid that wants to tag along on the adventure. You have the sidekick, creature, whether it be, what we get from Moana, Mulan. So it has those tropes. I wish it was a little bit more original in the story and some of its characteristics. But those are the kinds that come to mind. Before I give you all my overall score and let you know if it's worth that $30 price tag on Disney Plus, make sure if you haven't already to like the video, share the video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and of course subscribe to the channel and hit that bell. That way you don't miss any of my other content. With that being said, let me give you all my overall thoughts and give you my score for Raya and the Last Dragon. So overall, I knew based on that teaser trailer that I saw more than a year ago that I was going to probably like this movie, but I was not expecting to love this movie. It's heartfelt, it's emotional, it's an action-packed heist adventure film. It's incredibly gorgeous to look at. Its messaging and trusting one another and working together 100% sticks to landing. The direction and the voice acting was incredible. This film has that Disney magic, and I really recommend Raya and the Last Dragon. With that being said, I'm going to give this film a 4.5 out of 5. And to answer the question I posed up top in regards to is it worth that $30 price tag, I'll say this. For me personally, I don't see the value in paying $30 for any movie unless it's like an Avengers Endgame type of event. But besides that, I wouldn't pay $30, but I use the word value. I say that because if you are a family of, 2, 3, 4, 5 and on, I see this being a great value for you. And I highly recommend you pay that $30 to see this important film that has a great message, has great culture, has great animation. It's a fun film, so I recommend it in that sense. And then when it comes to the movie theater experience, I didn't unfortunately see it at the theater, but if you feel comfortable, if you feel safe seeing this in an IMAX theater, I highly recommend it because it is so gorgeous to look at. So that's just my personal opinion on the price tag and if it's worth seeing. But of course, once this film is available for free on Disney Plus, this is a must-see movie, and I highly recommend you check it out. Raya and the Last Dragon is an incredible Disney animated film. So that's just my thoughts on the film. Of course, leave your thoughts in the comments. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell. That way you don't miss any of my content that's on the channel right now. We have a lot of stuff to look forward to this weekend. Right now on this channel, I have my Chaos Walking review. I have Coming to America review. For my TV fans out there, we're going to be talking about Servant Episode 8, WandaVision finale. I'll have my full breakdown in the morning for Friday. I'm going to be doing a live watch along Friday night at 8 p.m. And of course, every single Saturday, we go live discussing WandaVision really in depth for a couple hours with some special guests. So tune in for that video. Thank you all for watching this review. Hoping you're staying safe, and we'll see you on the next video.